So in the year 2004, before gender identity was a thing and nobody had really heard of an avocado and cool cars were cheap. In that year I bought a Sierra Cosworth for £5,000 and it came with some cool parts. It came with the RS500 front bumper, rear spoiler and engine block. Now it was a bit rough and I'd done a lot of work to it to get it where it was. I put a new exhaust on, new wheels, new suspension, had it tuned, changed the interior as it came with leather, change the steering wheel and generally give it a good tidy up underneath. Now fast forward to about 2 years ago, I was fortunate enough to buy another Cosworth. I bought a Sapphire Cosworth and I loved driving it. So the 3-door kind of just sat unused in the garage. Then about 6 months ago I sold the Sapphire and I was fortunate enough to buy my absolute dream car, an Escort RS Cosworth. Now in that time the 3-door just sat in the garage, not being used and generally just being neglected. It was always taxed and insured, but I never really used it. Now fast forward to today, we are going to do some jobs to get it back on the road. When I had that Sapphire Cosworth, that's when I realised there's something wrong with the power steering on this car. It's very heavy, so that's what we're going to fix first on the car. In this box we have a new power steering pump. Now unfortunately it is hard to get hold of a new pump. People have been using a BMW E46 type setup I think, but we managed to get this brand new or reconditioned from Julian Godfrey Engineering. So we're going to take the old one off the car that is knackered, put this new one on and hopefully fix the problem. Before I get it on the ramp, I'll just start the car up and I'll show you what the steering is like. So we'll turn the keys there, press the button to get the reds on. The car hasn't been started for a while so it might splutter a bit. So the steering is heavy. I didn't really notice it was too bad till my mate got in the car and turned the steering and he was like, what on earth is going on with this? But at the same time it's not leaking any fluid and it's not whining, it's just very heavy, just a heavy steering. It's not like unpower assisted, you can see it's got some assistance but it's a lot heavier than it should be. So let's get the car lined up for the ramp and we'll get it up in the air and have a look at the pump, or the old pump. Right, now let's get the lift under and we'll get a better look at where the power steering pump is under the bonnet. And like I've said a few times before fellas, this lift is new to me and it still makes us nervous. I'm not a fan of getting under a car when it's 5 or 6 foot in the air. Right, so here is the power steering pump what we need to remove, and you can see it's got a belt and the belt is powered from the crankshaft. So we'll start by removing this belt, then we'll have a look at removing the rest of the pump. I've never had the pump off the car, so hopefully it'll come off without too much trouble. So to slacken the tension from the power steering belt, we need to undo this 13mm bolt, and that will allow the power steering pump to rock and we'll take the belt off. Right, so there's the belt off and you can see it's frayed, so we'll get a new belt to replace this old one. This one is probably the original one when I bought the car, to be honest. I don't think I've ever changed this belt. So we'll chuck this in the bin and order a new one. So next we're going to try and remove the power steering pipes that carry the fluid backwards and forwards to the pump and the rack. Apparently there can be a bit of a nightmare to take off. So let's get a spanner and hopefully they'll come off without too much issue. Before we undo the pipes, I'm going to put a tray under to catch any of the fluid so it doesn't make a mess on my garage floor. You hear the fluid starting to drip out there. This is just the banjo bolt I'm undoing. There we go, that's that off. So there's the fluid all leaking out and there's the bolt what we've just undone. I'm going to take the top of this reservoir off, see if it comes out a bit quicker. See there, it's just full of power steering fluid. That's the power steering reservoir, so we'll leave that top off and just let it all drain out. Then next we're going to undo these 3 bolts, then hopefully the whole power steering pump should just come away. Like I say, I've never done this before, so it's a learning curve for everyone here fellas. We are learning. So we've got the bolts undone, so we'll just take them out, then hopefully all the pump should just fall away. There's one bolt and the washer. Last bolt here fellas, then the power steering pump should fall away, to my calculations anyway. Oop, there we go. I think if we slide this bottle out, it should all lower down. Yes! Right, so here's the bottle off and the pump. So we'll take the bottle away from the pump and we'll give the bottle a clean out because it is a bit, well, it looks a bit dirty anyway inside. That should just pull off there. And we'll take this bottle in. You can see it's all black on the bottom. We'll give it a good clean. It's all full of gunk inside as well. So we'll take this bottle in, we'll give it a clean, we'll squirt some water in, use a bottle of fairy liquid and give it a good clean. And also, this isn't the original bottle off the car. I've actually changed this when I've owned the car. So you can see how long I've had the car. It's starting to age already. It's going obviously yellow. But we'll keep it. And now, I've just leaked fluid all over the floor. And now we need to undo these 3 bolts because we need to put this pulley on the new pump. So I'm going to undo them with an impact gun because I'll not get the leverage with the spanner. Look at that, straight off. And that should just move away. Take them bolts off so we don't lose them. Like that. Now there is the old pump, which I assume is knackered, even though it's making a right mess on my floor. So to clean the power steering bottle, I took it in the house and I put it in our 350 quid ceramic sink and used like a full bottle of fairy liquid to try and clean out the inside of the bottle. I put the tap on the hottest temperature and to be honest it didn't really do that much, so I took it back outside into the garage and I used a full tin of brake cleaner. I squirted it on the outside, the inside, and that worked a lot better, like a million times better than the fairy liquid. So if you're doing this yourself and you want to clean a bottle, I would definitely recommend a full bottle of brake cleaner. Once it was fully cleaned with the brake cleaner, I then put it back under the sink and flushed all the brake cleaner out because apparently it could damage the seals. So flush it all out, nice and clean, ready to go back on the car. Now cold turkey might be great in sandwiches, but there's better ways of breaking bad habits, and not everything in a bad habit is wrong. So instead of drastic uncomfortable change, why not just remove the bad from the habit? Fume, the sponsor of today's video, have done just that. There's no batteries or chemicals and it's very, very well designed. So this is how it works. Instead of having electronics, you've got a core in the centre that comes in different flavours. At the minute, I've got the mint crisp in, but I do like the vanilla orange. Fume is also perfect for my fidgety fingers. It's well weighted and well balanced and it's designed for fidgeting with. So it's got like a clicky end to adjust your airflow and it's got magnets on to play with and it's just nice to play with in your fingers. Join Fume in breaking your bad destructive habits by picking up the journey pack today. Head to tryfume.com/Adam Smith or scan this unique QR code and use code Adam Smith and save yourself 10% with your journey pack today. That's tryfume.com/Adam Smith to save an additional 10% on your order a day. Right, so let's get the new pump ready to fit. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the old pulley on and we're going to reuse the old bolts and we're going to put them on and we're going to hold them in place with some Loctite. This is a low strength Loctite, so it should come off easy enough again in the future if I need to get it back off. Then we'll put a little bit of Loctite on the bolts. And to tighten it back up, it took 4 ugga-duggers to undo them, so I'm going to tighten them back up to 4 ugga-duggers tight. Just like that. So before we fit the new pump, we're going to just fit the oil return pipe, which goes just on here. If I can get this rubber bung off, there we go. Then that slides onto there. There we go. Then we'll go down to there. Then we'll do up this Jubilee clip. There we go, nice and tight. So with that pipe that feeds the power steering pump its fluid, we haven't reattached the return from the power steering rack, and I'll show you why soon. But for now we just need to get the pump back in the car and get it all bolted up and into place. Then next we'll do up the hydraulic line that goes from the power steering pump to the power steering rack. So with all the hydraulic lines now fitted back on the power steering pump and the rack, I also fitted the bottle that holds the fluid, and I then fitted a brand new belt from PGA Motorsport. The power steering pump is powered from the crankshaft, so the belt goes from the crankshaft to the power steering pump. Once the belt is in place, it's then just a case of taking up the tension, so when we start the engine, the crankshaft will spin the power steering pump. Then hopefully the power steering will be back working how it should be. To refill the power steering fluid, I'm using Miller's XF Premium Fluid, automatic transmission fluid. It is also great for power steering systems. Now Julian Godfrey, who sold me the power steering pump, has sent a very specific set of instructions with the pump to clean the old fluid from inside the rack, and that'll give the new pump and rack the best possible chance for not failing in the future. The first stage is to lift the front wheels off the car. Then with the return hose still disconnected, we're going to start the engine and pour new power steering fluid into the reservoir tank with the engine running, and have an assistant turn the wheel side to side to get the fluid moving while avoiding full lock. Once that's done, I'm going to clean up my mess, which was not part of the instructions. I then took the car for a test drive, and we've now got a lighter steering wheel. Not as light as my modern daily car, but certainly a lot lighter than it was. So that to me, fellas, is a win. The power steering rack is now fixed on my car. Now next, I'm not sure why, but this bit of trim has started falling off on the corner of the bumper, so we're going to pull it. That you can get a new trim, but I'm going to see if we can fix this bit of trim. So we're going to pull it off, see if we can get it stuck back on and looking as good as new. So the bit of black trim is just held on with a bit of double-sided foam tape, so it pulls off really easy. So with the trim off, we need to clean the double-sided tape that's left on the bumper, and I'm basically going to use a drill and a toffee wheel. This is like a soft rubber wheel, and it pulls off that double-sided tape absolutely perfectly. So the toffee wheel is called a toffee wheel because it looks like toffee and it smells sweet. So with the toffee wheel as well, you need to be careful, as it is possible to burn through the paintwork and damage the area. I've learned this from experience. Then next we're going to clean that area where we've just removed the tape with some panel wipe / degreaser on a clean microfiber cloth. This will just hopefully remove the last of the sticky residue and give us a nice surface to stick the trim to. So here is the bit of trim off the rear bumper, so we're going to have to clean it up. So we're going to start by using the toffee wheel and just rub the back where the tape's going to go. If you want one of these toffee wheels, what I'm using to remove the double-sided tape, I'll leave a link to one in the description of this video where you can get one from Amazon. If you're using a toffee wheel, fellas, I would recommend having your battery powered drill on speed 1. Speed 2 is maybe a bit fast, and you've got more chance of getting the toffee wheel hot, getting the part hot, getting the paint hot and burning through. So if you're using a toffee wheel, I recommend speed 1, nice and slow, not too much heat in the part. Right, so with all that sticky stuff removed from the trim, I'm going to get a bit of panel wipe again, and I'm just going to give it a good clean, try and get the remainder of the sticky stuff off, so we'll get a good stick when we put our new sticky stuff on the part. Now next, with the strip nice and clean, we've got some double-sided foam tape. I've got 2 rolls of this in case I run out, but we're going to stick this on the trim and hopefully it'll not fall off in the future. To stick the tape on the back of the trim, I just pulled the tape off in small sections. I'm not trying to do it in one big long section, or you'll just end up with a big mess, a big spaghetti mess. Short little bits at a time. So there is the tape stuck on the trim, so it's now banging on the car. Fingers crossed, fellas, it doesn't fall off. So when I'm sticking the trim back on the bumper, it's always best to have cleaned the bumper. So like I say, I use some panel wipe / degreaser, so the tape sticks absolutely perfectly. And I'm pulling the trim tight to get it nice and straight, and to stretch it. Start at one end and gently pull it all the way around till you get the other end. And press it into place, and hopefully that should do the job and it'll not fall off. Right, now next, fellas, when I bought this car, it came with GB plates on. Now I'm not a fan of GB plates, so like 15 years ago when I bought, longer than 15 years ago, about 20 years ago when I bought the car, I did change the reg plates and I put these are just standard with the old style letters. But thanks to the fellas at DMB Graphics, I have got some new reg plates, which I'll show you here. Now these are dealer plates, and a dealer plate has basically got the dealer at the bottom of the reg plate where the car came from new. So you can see there, that is the dealer where the car came from new. So we've got a nice set of dealer reg plates. Now if you want some reg plates for your car, I will leave a link to DMB Graphics in the description below, and you can find them on Instagram. But for now, let's take these old ones off. We'll get them new ones on. So to remove these old ones, they're just held in place with 2 Phillips screws. There's one. There's the reg plate off. Everything on the car looks good behind the plates. So for the new plates, this is how I do them. I was happy with where these sat on the car, so we're going to put these, we're going to drill like that. So we're drilling into the sticker, so we're not pulling the sticker off the back of this new plate. So we're going to put it like that. Then with this masking tape, what has been kindly decorated by my 8-year-old daughter, we'll put the tape round and tape them together. Doing it in 2 places. Then with the drill bit that is roughly the same size as the hole in the plate, we'll put it in our drill, tighten it up, then we're going to go on speed 2, nice and quick. Then following on from the hole that's already in the plate, we're just going to go through, and I'm not putting too much pressure on, I'm basically just guiding it through, keeping it straight and letting the drill bit do the work till it cuts through the sticker on the reg plate, then pops out on the back of the plastic. So with one hole done, we'll just do this other one. Excuse the neighbour, they're getting some work done over the road, I'm sure you can hear that drill. But we'll take this sticky tape off here and take the reg plates apart. There is the new reg plates with the holes drilled in. Right, so that should just screw into place. Then for this side, do you think I should go with a black cap or a yellow one? I think I'll go for black. So one more screw to go in. Then we'll push these little caps closed. Then just like that, we've got some nice new dealer plates on the back of the car. So I'm now going to jump on and do the front dealer plate. Then I'll show you this one, by the way, before I stick it on. Because this is obviously the front one, it's a different colour to the back one. This is white. How nice is that? So I'm going to put this on, then I'll catch up here when we've done this front reg plate. Now next, as the car's been sat in the garage all winter while I've been working on my Escort Cosworth, it is absolutely minging. There's dust, all kinds on the paintwork. Paint overspray, it's just absolutely minging, fellas. It needs a good clean. So instead of having to go myself, I took it to Abstract Detailing in Leachmere, where Sean the owner gave it a proper good clean. He started off with a citrus cleaner by spraying it all over the paintwork, just to loosen all the dirt. He then jet washed that off, and once all the citrus cleaner was off, he then hit it with some snow foam just to break up the rest of the dirt that's on the paintwork. Once the snow foam had sat in the car and bubbled in and helped soften everything up, he then jet washed it off again, and then moved on to the wheels and gave those a good clean with some Abstract Detailing wheel cleaner. He then finished it off with some Abstract Detailing shampoo, dried it off with a giant microfiber cloth, and that is the car done. I'm not a detailer, and I'm not a cleaner, and I'm not a buffy. So this car is now perfectly presentable for me to drive around along the beach, pick up ice creams with my daughter, and use for the year. I will polish it a couple of times over the year, but I just thought I'd take it to a professional and get the majority of the muck off the paint. And to be honest, now it's taxed and tested, I can't wait to get out on the summer days. That is it, fellas. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. And if you want to see more Cosworth content, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Cheers.